What's the state of WordPress today? There's a million problems in WordPress today. The framework of WordPress is awesome for everything, but it gets no credit for being awesome because it's like the greatest car ever built that somebody left in a barn and it's covered with bird shit, and people are like, oh, it's grandfather's car, and nobody knows it's a Dino Ferrari because all of the perception of the word, that's not cool, that's not a new car, but it's really the best car ever. It's getting the car running with the human interface and the billion plugins. But when you ask people, like, what do you need? It's like, dude, I need a website that sells stuff, does membership, does booking, and that I can count on being there. Okay, I got you covered.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Fueled by Progress, hosted by me, Mark Szymanski. What I like to do on the show is have conversations with people that have impacted me positively, negatively, people that I'm just intrigued with in general. These conversations are raw and unfiltered. I just sit down with the guest and we have a conversation about how they became the person that they are. I always learn a lot from them. I know you will too. And today's episode is absolutely no exception. I'm going to be chatting with Spencer Forman today. He's been in WordPress for almost longer than I've been alive. He's lived so many different lives, whether it's law, aviation, real estate. He's done so many different things, which is quite intriguing and inspiring to me as somebody who feel like I've also done a little bit of that just over the last 5 to 7 years. He's also heavily into content. He's got the YouTube channel promoting WP Launchify, his product currently. And if you follow me and you like some of my content, I know you're going to like Spencer because he is the same type of way. He's very authentic, very transparent, no bullshit when he speaks. He's just one of those guys that when you talk to him, you know what you're going to get. And I greatly appreciate that because, again, I'm an authenticity, transparency guy. And it's just great to see. I'm really excited for you guys to listen to this chat. If you have any questions, any thoughts to add to the discussion, leave them down in the comments down below. But without further ado, Spencer Forman.
Yeah. By the way, I like the fact that you're already thinking like a guy down the road, which is a compliment because how old are you now? 28, 9, 30?
29, yeah, going to be 30.
Did I guess right? Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
So you're going to blink. You're going to be 59. Yeah. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, I love being 59 or 58, but I'm saying it you've got the same conversational tone that I had my whole life. And I think that's the thing. It's constantly, I watch your videos with great amusement because that's how I still think. I'm what am I doing right today? What am I doing wrong today? What the fuck is going on? How am I going to make $360,000 this year? What is happening?
No, I feel you, man. Yeah. I mean, if you're good too, I'm down to just start because I normally do these and I just do an intro and then we just dive into it.
We're just freewheeling this, right?
100%. Yeah, exactly where you're at. I'll make it all come together there on the edit a little bit.
Let me make sure am I presentable enough? I'm a little hot.
100%. You're good. You're good, man. Again, take it off, bro. I mean, again, this is chill. I appreciate you saying that.
I decided it's 80 degrees here. I'm just going for it.
I love it. Like I said, I love it.
I'm getting all dazed up and confused. Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. You're good. No. No, I mean, I appreciate you saying that because I think there's a lot of things that I'd like to talk to. So let me give you a quick context too, because I started this podcast because I had other things in the past. Obviously, I've done live streams and stuff, but then, there's so many people that I know and that I don't know, firsthand and secondarily through the internet and stuff like that I just want to have conversations with because, I want to be as good as I can in whatever area that I'm working in at the given time. But, from the times you and I have been on WP Tonic together and the stuff that I've seen from you, you messaged me the other day and we have that energy synchronous stuff going on. I think that's very true. I feel like you're somebody that's constantly thinking about what can I do today that makes me a little bit better? What have I, done in the past that I need to, tweak and stuff. And I'm super excited because we haven't had the chance to actually have that conversation. So I'd really love to dive into some of that and get some of your wisdom on that.
I mean, the truth is there's lots of people who succeed in life and success in life changes as you get older. I'm not going to sound philosophical, I hope, but I have an age under my belt that I'm living the philosophy that there's 3 stages. The before you're married, kids and stuff, the with, married and kids and all that. And then the after, and it's sort of like the VH1, which you don't know what I'm talking about. VH1 Behind the Music back in the MTV days. They used to have the bands would go up and down the curve. And if you're an entrepreneur, you are different than an employee. The phases always have reinvention periods in them. But one of the things that I definitely feel is true is that there's a difference between people who succeed by accident and then they rest on their laurels, or they get lazy and fat and whatever. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But somebody who's constantly trying to reinvent themselves and investigating what they like to do for that phase of their life, and when they're doing it with different people, like whether you have kids or you're married, whether you're old, you have grandkids, whether you're single, all these factors change. And I like it when people are honest about the fact that even if you're wealthy, that's not the success measure, because there's lots of miserable wealthy people. Just look in the news and politics. But there's lots of poor people who are struggling and can't figure out that the secret to struggle is not spend less. The secret to struggle solution is make more. And so at either end of that spectrum is sort of like, where is your happy EQ of, I make enough by doing the thing I really love, which hopefully helps people for the phase of my life that I'm at, so that life is an adventure rather than a destination, or there's no winning life. Winning life is when you wake up in the morning and you feel like, I got to hustle today because I love the hustle, but I'm also hustling just enough that I'm not avoiding my relationships or my kids or my love life or any of that stuff.
Yeah. I've struck that balance now where it's like, I'm not perfect at it, but, for a while there, man, I was just like really beating myself up over the last few years. I just got into the WordPress. I mean, I'd been in WordPress, but I got in that WordPress community scene kind of like when we, got to know each other a little bit more. And I just got to know so many other people in the community, and it's been really good for me. I feel like holistically, because more people know me, I have more opportunities, stuff like that. But then you start to watch other people that are having success, and you can fall into that trap of comparing yourself to other people when it's just a really, really big mind fuck when you do that, because it's not even a good comparison. You don't know where they came from. This is why I love trying to understand people's journeys and their stories and where they've come through, because everyone is different. And, just going back to the balance part, you have to somehow balance wanting to make more money with not selling your soul or, sacrificing your ethics,
right?
Or, just, I don't know, a litany of other things, like providing bad quality for your clients or whatever. I think it's just a weird thing to balance, honestly. I mean, it's hard to, I feel to get that right. But when you do realize that it's the most important thing, I feel like it starts to come a little bit more for you.
The thing that I was thinking of when you were saying that was, they say comparison is the enemy, or the thing that defeats your happiness, right?
Yeah.
So I'm guilty of that myself. Everybody is. You have to have a certain amount of mental, villains in your life, or mental opponents in your life, maybe not publicly, but in your mind. But yet comparison by itself is always poison, because one of the things that becomes relevant when you're old is you realize, I've had people I've known since my 5 years old, 10 years old, 20, 30, whatever. Some of them millionaires, some of them bankrupt, some of them married, some of them divorced, all kinds of stories. Some of them are dead. And there's no match, none, between happiness and fulfillment and money by itself. There are people that I know who, like myself, did real estate and things when they were younger. And I had this journey that led me into software, which was at the time very tumultuous, and part of my being divorced and getting custody of my kids and having to go through bankruptcy, all this crazy stuff. But as an entrepreneur, I was equipped for it. And now I look back, it's ironic. And by the way, having 5 surgeries and all this is relevant too, because I play pickleball and I'm in a band and I have all these fellas who are 19 again. And the ones that have been married for 35, 40 years are like, Spence, who are you going out with? And what are you doing now? And what's happening in your house? Can we come play at your house? And it's like when people had parents that didn't let them leave the house, they've got a wife and kids that are adults, and they want to come hang out with me. And they're somehow envious of my life. I'm like, dude, I've been in pain for the last 5 years every morning. I have had to raise kids by myself. All the things that you think are your struggles, somebody wishes they had. And then there's some wealthy dude that looks like he's got it all, that's a lunatic on TV doing all kinds of crazy stuff that questionably shouldn't be done by people with that much money. And I think that's the point. The point is we're all really just actors in some, I think maybe AI-based reality game show called Human Life and Existence. And what the secret is that the thing does go very fast. And I feel like I have my last third left. But the entrepreneurship and the observing other people and being in a community, very beneficial, because you need to have a tribe, you need to have a focus, you have to have something to hang your personal brand on. And when I was in real estate, that's what happened. Not so much in law, because I didn't like law, even though I was good at it. So I only spent about 7-8 years there. But in real estate, in software, in aviation, because I found a tribe of people. I grew it because I'm naturally interested and curious about human beings, and I think you are too. And that's the nature of an entrepreneur, where you find a pain that you have, that other people have, that you want to solve, that you risk everything to solve, and then you try to sell it. That's rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat.
Yeah,
and do it till you die.
We need to dive into this. I mean, this is absolutely a selfish question, but I think there's a lot of other people out there that I gotta go deep on this thing, because I haven't found too many other people that I feel like fit this mold that you just described right there. But I feel like inherently kind of I'm one of them, and I know they exist. You just named like 5 different industries, like 5 different topical areas of things that you have put, half decades to decades of your life into each one of them. Like as you've gone through like 5, 10, 6, 5, 6, 7 years or whatever. Like how can we kind of unpack that a little bit? And were you ever in the middle of those thinking like, how did you go from like one to another? Because I'm already in this spot with like WordPress as an example. And I know other people are in this, like, because like, oh, should we go from WordPress? Should we go to AI? Should we go to something else? Like, that's just one example. And those are pretty close together. I mean, you're making jumps from, again, real estate to aviation to law. What was that like? How did you process that? What were some of your,
I mean, they kind of overlap.
Reasons? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. All right. First of all, I think you have to start, and this is a good question for anybody to ask themselves, to be honest. If you don't ask yourself this question, you're not going to succeed at whatever you set out to do. There literally are 2 types of people in the business sense in the world. There are entrepreneurs or employees. And the difference is, by definition, I think an entrepreneur is somebody, like I suggested, they find pain that they have, they seek to solve it, they figure out how to solve it, then they figure out if other people have it, they try to sell that solution at their own risk to solve the problem for other people. And then they get bored after they solve the problem and they move on to something else, hopefully with a legacy of recurring revenue or something. Employees would rather play the corporate political game, or, somebody tells me what to do. I collect the check. I've got a perception, maybe a reality of security, and that's good. Now, that as a baseline is a good thing to differentiate, because when I was 10 years old, I figured out I was an entrepreneur. I didn't know what the word was, but like I went to an all-boys summer camp in northern Wisconsin called Camp Menominee. My kids go there now. By the way, they're my clients, so my kids have gone to camp for free for a sum of 25 years based upon me doing their website stuff.
Nice.
Definitely a deal that worked out in my favor. 15 grand a year per kid. But the point is, when I was 10, I went there in 1976 or something like that. And I thought when I was packing up the steamer trunk, we had those old-fashioned, like, Titanic trunks, baseball mitts, and I'm like, all the friends in my neighborhood always want to hang out in our bathroom because my dad has all those Playboy and Penthouse magazines. Like, I should probably put some of those in there. And even then, I had the idea, like, it's an all-boys camp, male counselors. Like, so flash forward like 4 or 6 weeks, I'm called into the director's office. My counselor had ratted me out for renting all those Playboy and Penthouses for $5 an hour. And he calls my father, Mr. Forman, your son, the porn king of Camp Menominee, is here with his $600 of ill-gotten gains. And my father's like, what? Only 600? And that's when I knew what the rest of my life was going to be. It was going to be, they stole my porn, they stole my money, I clearly was on to something that they wanted a part of. And I knew that that was like the nature of what I was going to do. And everything that I've done since then was layering on to answer your question. My parents did okay, but for some reason, they didn't want to buy me a car. I bought a shitty Fiat X19 that was beautiful yellow, but the wheels fell off in front of the high school when I first started driving. I was mortified. And now $2,500 that I had saved from working at all these jobs since I was 14 years old. My next door neighbor was like an early Obi-Wan Kenobi, this Mr. Miller. He was this very rotund, pipe smoking, pot smoking, nice fella who rebuilt old Jaguars and Corvettes, was divorced, was into computers. And he said, stop griping and complaining. Just go out and make some more money at your job, buy an old Corvette, and you can use my tools and I'll teach you how to fix up cars. Like Luke and Obi-Wan. And by golly, that's what happened. And I came back the next year. I bought a 1975 Corvette for $4,000. I fixed it up, got it repainted. Amazing. I came back like senior year with Corvette Summer, the hottest car and thing. But I learned about computers, about entrepreneurship, about solving problems, one bolt, everything is assembled by one bolt to the next. And then I went on to do other businesses, including I did car detailing, but then I started taking pilot's lessons back in those days. And I got a pilot's license. I saw all these airplanes. I'm like, well, if I can wash a car for $150, I bet a plane is like $300-400. And I found a guy that sold used planes, and I got a contract. I hired a bunch of kids to do airplane detailing. They did the work, and I, directed them around. Then I went to school in college. There was 35,000 kids. So we started a balloon business because I wanted to meet girls, and I played guitar. So having a balloon truck that we were on the local David Letterman, putting our ads for $50 at the bar was a great way to meet a girl. And then going into the dorms and all these things layered on. And then when I was in college, in the end, when we ran the balloon business, we lived in a shitty house with a shitty landlord, and I was fixing up everything because I used to watch This Old House on TV, and I thought, well, sure, I can do that. And I'm sick of paying this landlord money, so I bought a house when I went to law school in Champaign for $32,000 in 1988. My grandfather had to co-sign for like a $20,000 loan between the down payment or whatever at 14% interest, mind you. I rented 3 rooms to law students from out of town. So my house was like the favorite house, the party house. I lived in it, sold it to another kid who went to law school, came to Chicago, bought a house, didn't think much of it. That house burned down. I realized there was this whole... So what happened is there was a Steve Jobs thread to my life that isn't me special. This is like Forrest Gump or anybody else. When you look at your life, I think everybody can see a series of intertwined events that don't become intertwined until you look back on them. Like he famously told a story about how he was auditing classes and he learned about calligraphy. And calligraphy was like, what? It became the fonts that were in the original Apple computer because he felt that was important. Everything was green screens with these like block letters and stuff. And I can now look back at all of the things in my life that were entrepreneurial or family or physical or emotional relationship, and they all have this weird thread of continuity that I can't say that I purposely planned, but maybe at some higher level, I kind of outlined a script of, now this is going to happen. Choose yes or no, right or left. And I chose a bunch of things that at the time were very disjointed and very traumatic. Some of them were amazing. But in hindsight, I realized I could picked up along the way the things that make me who I am today. And as I sit here today, what I want to tell you, that's why I'm attracted to our relationship and being friends with you and stuff. I met you on that show with the WP Tonic, and Jonathan and I are old fogies and stuff. But like you do have that same energy that I feel in myself, which is you are always looking in the mirror introspectively or even existentially at what am I doing? Why am I doing? What is this for? What's the purpose? Where is this going? And all I'm trying to say is that I don't think that's something that is like a 10-year-old or a 90-year-old. That's just somebody who's an entrepreneur. And no offense to employees, but employees don't have to do that. They're like, hey man, what are you doing on Saturday? I'm going to go golfing. Okay.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs do golf, but we just don't think we're like, man, how can I figure out how to get like a new golf course built or something,
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you saying that. Cause I was as you were going through all that, I was thinking to myself, like, yes, that is something that I see in myself. I've realized that I'm like incredibly introspective, and I don't want to fight it anymore. Hence, like, why I'm doing like daily videos and stuff like that, just to kind of like flex the muscle with the content. But not just that, really, it's for me. It's like I love the idea of having all that documented, so I'm probably not going to go back and watch them all, but like, I mean, just kind of like verbalize what I'm going through on a day-to-day basis, what I'm thinking about. Maybe it'll help some other people, maybe it won't, but hopefully it'll help me, or just continue to do that. I actually can't think. There's many other things that you can do in life, obviously there's relationships, there's career and everything, but like, that is like, for some reason, sometimes I describe it as documenting my life, but that introspective piece, I can't think of anything that's like more important in my life almost. I mean, again, yeah. I'm not discounting my relationships with my wife and my family. I'm just saying, like, that action is like so important to me, because I feel like if I'm not doing that, I just feel that I'm not. Now, you can overdo it, but if I'm not doing it to a certain degree, I'm not thinking about where I'm headed and what I've done and how to continue to move in the direction that I feel that I need to go. And yeah, hearing you navigate that and see that thread, is it the same for you though? Like, have you ever thought about it as like kind of like documenting your life? I'll give you a ridiculous example. Like, I have a Google sheet with 200 lines in it that has date, category, and then like event that has happened in my life. Not every single event, obviously, in my life, but like the highlights or the lowlights, the notable ones. Because like, I just feel like those are things that I'm learning from, and those are things that I'd like to document. Do you see it like that, or do you just see it as introspection, or what's your full take on that?
I haven't done there. I'm not going to go get them, but like, I would joke with people because I write modern AI software, which is crazy to say, but like, I have notebooks and journals, endless, and not like, dear diary, today I met Bobby. He's so cute. No, it was more with the things that I went through. Let me step back to answer your question, but I want to say that entrepreneurial nature, that self-reflective look in the mirror nature, that I can only take so much self-loathing before I want to throw up, and then I just pull myself up by my own bootstraps. Mm-hmm. I don't know where that comes from. I have family members that have, my sister and I are very similar in that way, but it's part of my parents and whatever. The point is, when you recognize it in yourself, you can turn it from a liability into an asset. Because when the world changes, as it always is, you're ready for it. Like, I'm one suitcase away from like, it's all over. I got to start over. I literally, and I won't tell that full story, but like, I had my home burned down in 1994 with everything in it. And I was this close to being dead, other than some weird accident of my friends taking me out. And that led to this whole line of other stuff happening. But like, everything in the world was gone. At the time, I could have just like crumbled. It turned out to my advantage because it got me started in real estate and various, but I'm saying, like, being prepared for change. Now, how do I weather the storms? I have found through asking around and research that one of the best things to do is, besides being a stoic, which is to say, today, life is going to shit in my coffee. And when it doesn't happen, what an amazing day. Versus, oh, everything's supposed to be perfect all the time. And look at what happened. My pencil broke. Like, there's a fragility to the second one versus the first one is like, yeah, of course it sucks. But the today doesn't suck. When you use a tool like documenting, whichever way you do it, writing it down, journaling, talking in the mirror, that the tough times, I look back at my journals when some seriously effed up stuff was going on in my life. I mean, between illnesses that I unexpected and fighting for custody of your children, having your ex-wife trying to have you arrested on Father's Day. I mean, weird shit. It ended up well, and my kids have grown up great. I ended up with custody and raising them. But that was a time in my life, a lot of stuff. And I would look back at those journals when I couldn't sleep for 24 hours or 48 hours. And I realized those problems have solved themselves a million miles ago. And then I move forward through even some of the physical stuff like I've done in the WordPress space when the stuff has been going on here. And the businesses that I was writing up and the ideas that I had and the people that I have them all in journals. And I do look at them. Because I go, that was like yesterday. And I remember when, that idea, and that would have been a disaster. But this other thing I did, that turned out great. And look at this guy. I've known him for 28 years. And this guy I've known for 5 minutes. So it's a great way to measure your journey. And then that reflective part that I'm trying to say, like where the dots all connect suddenly, I think it comes from that. It comes from being self-aware that you're on a journey that maybe you had something to do about, but that it's not supposed to be a straight line. It's circuitous. And if you write down and think about what you're doing, it will help you understand, get the violins. It's not the destination. It's the journey. And if you can ride out all of the things at the end of the journey, you're going to be like, that was an awesome movie I just watched, or that was a great play I was in. Versus, no offense, but like I was really lucky when I was young, but no offense to people that have nothing ever bad happen to them. My first 29 years or so was awesome. Like nothing bad ever happened. Then I got my ass handed to me in the next 30 years, but not in a bad way, because great things came from that, but only because I persisted. And so that's why I say high five to you. High five to anybody who does it, because if you don't write it down, you're going to remember some abstract version of it. Yeah. But if you do write it down and you succeed or fail, or you win or lose, or you have a good relationship, a bad one, you'll understand the next time why that was and what you were thinking and what to do differently. And it does help a lot.
That's so crazy that you say that your first 29 years was like nothing bad happened to you. You were like completely blessed there. Because I feel like I'm in the exact same situation. I listen to all these other entrepreneurs, and they either say that like they'll say stuff like, oh, I was literally broke, homeless, sleeping on people's couches, like all throughout my teens and my 20s. And I'm like, fuck, maybe I should have been homeless and I would be further along right now. And I'm
There's plenty of time, Mark. There's plenty of time, especially in today's economy. You'll get your wish.
Be homeless in 3
Keep
years.
talking like that. You'll get your wish. No.
Yeah, it's probably not a great way to think about it. It's just crazy though, because it's always like that. It's always like, oh, I was like in complete turmoil, and then now I'm making $400,000 a month or something like that. It's like it's crazy. I don't know if that's a prerequisite. I don't think it is. No, I hope it's not. But it's kind of uncanny how that's like always the thing.
The everybody has their moment, and mine was just something that I feel in hindsight was like a journey that I, again, intuitively feel like I had something to do. I mean, I'm not a religious person. I'm a spiritual person with a belief that we all kind of are actors in some kind of play, AI or otherwise. And the idea is that we learn from all these things, but that if you're a really advanced soul, you don't just sit back and chill. You really try to get a lot of shit done. But the first 29 years, like, I came into my late 20s. I was a multimillionaire, not from like me being so smart, but a series of weird events, including my house burning down, but being aware enough to realize like, why are they buying my land? And what, like all these things at the beginning of the real estate boom. I was sort of thinking about that instead of with the blinders on. And it led to getting married without thinking about it, and maybe that was the right person because I knew it. I mean, there's all these things I can go and we'd have to drink to, talk about the details. But the idea is better that you had the first 29 years, because now, like, there isn't any goal to get there fast. This is the part that boggles my mind. So, there's the story of the shipbuilder's parable or the boat builder's parable. That's the wealthy business person goes on a vacation, and there's some little old guy with a boat, and he takes them out on the water, and they fish all day long in the ocean. And he just does that for the whole week. And then he tells the little guy with the boat, he says, "This is amazing. It was the best vacation ever. And I could invest in you, and we could buy you like 100 boats and build this into a whole business, and you'll be a millionaire." And the old man's like, and then what? And he's like, "Well, then you'll have plenty of time to just take your boat out and fish." It's like, I think so many people just blindly do shit to make money at the expense of other people sometimes. And they don't really think about, like, what's it going to be like at the end of your life when you look back and you shit all over people for money? And whether you think you're great or not, nobody likes that. Nobody wants to be treated badly. But was that worth it versus like putting the golden rule first. And I'm not preachy, I hope, but I'm saying there's a lot of people I know that made millions of dollars shitting all over people, and lots of people who suffered as a result of that who overcame. But I think somewhere in the middle is like the way that we would all do better. And I think for me in the WordPress space, especially, that's been a motive in the last couple of years. I hold no ill will towards Mullenweg or Syed Balki, but I speak to those guys specifically because I did interview them in public, and I asked them, I gave them a chance to explain, with all of the benefits you've gotten from this community of other people who are, I know everybody in WordPress. Like, I mean, I love people, so I've tried to know everybody. I'm like, well, what's the upside of shitting all over people, like, and doing this crazy stuff? And they can't answer the question. And I don't know if that's because of something that happened in their childhood, or it's not my problem to worry about. But for me, I feel like my duty, my goal for the next third, the last third probably, is to take all of the stuff that I've learned and to use my energy with the new tools and the technology to help a lot of people who otherwise just want a hand to get to where we're all going. Because I think that's kind of the benefit for everybody, is if more of us just helped one another, we'd all make all the money we ever needed. The problem is when people do stuff and they're hoarding it and they're doing stuff like, what? Like, you already got 10 million, you need 50 million, you need 100 million, you need 1 billion. Like, what's wrong when you're on a life raft when there's 99 people starving in that end of the raft and there's you on this end with hoarding all the food in the water? That can't be good for anybody, right? But apparently that's what our world is like. And I'm not trying to be preachy, but that's the entrepreneurial mindset I have today, which is, I was a multimillionaire. I've been bankrupt. I've been everything in between. I still wear the same clothes, drive the same kinds of cars, take the same kind of trips. I do treat myself to various things. But when I had enough money to buy everything, there like, after necessities, everything else is just jerking yourself off. I mean, sorry for that. Sorry, kids.
Good.
Sorry, kids.
No kids watch this show. It's fine.
But I'm just saying, like, there is nothing satisfying after your needs are met. Like, there's definitely the like breathe deep level of, okay, I'm covering my bills. And this is what disturbs me about people. Like, I don't want to keep beating on him, but anybody who's got more than they can spend, is that there's so many things that need to be fixed in this world. And that's what I feel like those of us who are entrepreneurs can do best.
It's a good point. We talked at the very beginning, or we mentioned it or whatever, because I made the videos and I appreciate your support on the daily stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, I kind of took a step back as I'm moving into, a new decade of my life, and a kind of a new era, I guess. And I'm thinking, like, what's life going to be like in 5 years or whatever, as, start a family and all this other stuff, might need to get a bigger house, whatever, et cetera. And it's just like, yeah, there's some numbers that I feel like I need to hit, but I've always had that problem. It's like, oh, how much money do you want to make? Oh, I want to make $1 billion. Like, well, that's stupid. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, I feel like the thing that I actually, the thing that has finally gotten me to kind of, like, I've been talking about this concept of, like, a catalyst, like a specific catalyst to do something, because you could keep telling yourself year after year, or whatever, to do something. But until you have the right, not just the timing, but also the right thing to actually get your ass in gear, then I think I'm approaching that now, where it's like, okay, we actually need to hit a number, because it is not just some random pie in the sky number that some influencer told me they're making and I want to make that money. It's like, this amount of money will literally, it literally needs almost to happen in order to live a lifestyle and support a family, et cetera, or whatever, so I ran those numbers and I did that, the other day on those things. And it's like that. I feel like when you get to that, that's like a serious goal and a serious achievement that you could kind of, again, take a breath, and then you could kind of get to the next level. I don't know. I've just been mentally like fucked on some of that stuff before. It's like, oh, I want to make all the money in the world. It's like, that's not helpful. That's not really a goal anyway. It's not even it's barely actionable, and it's not motivating.
Well, it's also a false premise, because I will say this: if you look historically on people who have gone from nothing to something, they all say the same stuff. I mean, even John Lennon famously talked about it, is that there's, like, I was just like major, so like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But basically, once you're getting past the food, shelter, water, sex, love, and so forth, like money, does not incrementally or exponentially increase your happiness or your satisfaction. And it's an unfortunate misunderstanding that people think that the more they double, triple down on their money. But the problem is there's always somebody wealthier than you. And we already see a framework now in public melting down oligarchs with hundreds of billions of dollars. Lunatics. Elon Musk, one of them in particular. And I'm not going to talk politics, but remember the days when Carnegie just sort of built railroads and didn't bother anybody? I mean, just Bill Gates was the richest guy in the world forever. And he is so low key compared to the madness. And what I'm saying is you need to make enough money. Let me pause. Remember a moment ago, I said there's a mistake that poor people make or people that are struggling make. They try to decide because Susie Orman, who's a very famous financial advisor.
Yeah.
Okay, girlfriend, how much you making? Give me your phone. I used to drive.
You are denied.
Denied. I love her. She's from Chicago too. But the point is, her advice was horrific because I used to remember driving. I had a place when I was wealthy, and I used to have a vacation home with a airplane and a ranch. I mean, it was so fun. It didn't cost me that much money. It was a couple $100,000. But the point was, it felt really wealthy. And I would drive out there, and I was listening to her on the CNBC or on the radio. The kids, there's a thing called radio. And I would hear this show, the Susie Orman show. And I would think to myself, she keeps telling people to spend less. She's a waitress. It makes $12 a day. And she's like, well, you should save $9. And I'm like, how about you make 24? Because my point is, you have to know what's your nut. How much do you need for your food, your shelter, your entertainment, your basic necessities, your Maslow needs, including for your relationship. You got to get yourself hooked up with something that covers that without you working. That's the goal. Period. And I want to tell you that since 10 years old till adulthood, that's always been foremost in my mind. And through these various industries that I went through, real estate and everything else, it was always the same thing. It's create some business that I don't have to wake up and hustle. I want to hustle, but I don't have to hustle. I'm currently in what I would call a reinvention phase of that because I have friends who are well known in the industry. I don't mind mentioning my friend Rob Cairns, the RDM podcast and stuff. He's very well known. He, like a lot of people, spent a long time building a recurring book of business of very stable clients that he essentially just hosts their website with automated backups and security and plugin updates. That's it. Many of them pay $2,250 a year and up. So he's got many hundreds of them. So you can do the math that Rob doesn't have to get up and hustle. Spence has a lower number of that because I made a strategic decision, which I didn't regret, but now I'm reflecting on, which was I went through a transition period where I was more interested in the lure and excitement of software development and high ticket consultancy because it does pay off very well, which is where I'm at today. I have 3 to 5 clients a month who maybe, if I'm lucky, pay $5,000 each. And then I have recurring book of business of software that I sell. But when I look back on Rob's business and I think about it, I think as a 59-year-old this year I'll be 59. I think the next 30 years, what I want to have is a book of business of people who pay me essentially don't think about a level of pricing. Maybe it's a couple $100 a month to essentially have the engine that they use to go into this new era. So that what I can do is actually, ironically, where I started in software as the evil genius at Widget Laboratory, where I had these 12,500 people who were on Ning for free, who came to myself and my partner to buy all the widgets and solutions. But the point was they continued to pay regardless. And in this situation, I think that's what you and I and other entrepreneurs need. You need something to cover your nut. And not so much that you just get disincentivized, but enough that when your wife says, we got to go to Costco or, you want to take a trip, you don't have to go, oh my God, what the hell am I going to do? Because that's an entrepreneur lifestyle as well. I mean, there were several instances in my life when I had enough money to say F you to anything and anybody. And other ones where I was thrilled because I could finally buy ramen for the kids, like when you go through the bankruptcy process. And the bankruptcy wasn't my fault. It was because I was in the real estate business. All the banks closed all at once. They called all the loans on everybody. So me and about 30 buddies of mine were all like, well, take our buildings. They ultimately gave us our stuff back. But I'm saying for like a year, it was all over. Those are the things that any entrepreneur, I think, should do. Now, do you want to build a 10 million, 100 million? If you've got time, you're 29, okay? What the fuck do I need $100 million business for? I can't spend $100 million in the next 25 years. I mean, what is wrong with people? I mean, in today's economy, in Chicago, suburbs, 200,000, 250 it's a reasonable lifestyle, like upper middle class lifestyle. There isn't really a middle class anymore. You get to $500,000 to $1 million, you're in like really comfortable. You get to $1 million to $2 million, you're in sort of like fly first class everywhere, eat wherever you want. But these nincompoops that I hear about who are nice people that, and by the way, I love Sam Parr and I love Shan Puri from like My First Million, but I listen to that show and it gives me convulsions because they talk about the same thing you just said, which is like the 50 to 100 million, 100 to 200 million, 2 million to $1 billion. I'm like, what do you need $1 billion business for? It's my first million, not my first billion. And I love those guys. I love their show. But I'm just saying, like, the mindset is wrong. Because if you have $100 million, you should be fucking building schools for kids and feeding poor people and training your neighbors not to be lunatics. Like, you shouldn't be hoarding it in your own bank account. That's my opinion. And I'm not a communist or a socialist. I'm a capitalist.
I mean, no, I don't know if I've ever specifically looked at it that way, but I do kind of like see that. Because I don't know. I just feel like again, advent of social media, there's a million different things we could talk about there, but with all of that, you just see everything so much more nowadays. And because you see it more, you think it's more prevalent. You know, like again, we were talking about Alex Hormozy like a little bit at the very beginning or something, right? It's like that. I mean, it's
$100 million from one.
Like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. Like I think like I can't tell if it's being normalized because it's becoming more prevalent, or it's just feeling normalized because you just hear about these things more from the same
I'm going to raise my hand to interrupt you. Hold on. I'm going to use the raise the hand button.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Okay. Here's what I want to suggest. I won't interrupt you again, I promise.
No, you're good.
You use the term normalized. And the normalized is the abnormalness of what's happening in the world. You've played Monopoly, right? Mm-hmm. Have you ever played Monopoly with like your nieces, nephews, little kids or anything, or adults that are like really into it? Because here's what the game is. Monopoly is fun for everybody, only at the beginning of the game. As soon as one person buys up all the shit, the whole game is miserable for everybody except for that person. And they're just jumping around and they got the money, like, oh, $10,000, and it's just waiting to kill everybody. Welcome to 2025. Okay. The problem with our society today, besides the extremes on both sides, we used to be kind of in the middle, is financially, the extremes have caused the middle to disappear, where people could just be like, you know what, like, I'm going to go to that job and hang out and do my thing. And like, I can still afford a house and go to the movies. And I'm 25. I can live out with my friends in an apartment, not have to live with my parents. Somewhere we all got sold upriver, downriver to the oligarchs and to these people that think they need $100 billion. And all of us have just become the other players in the Monopoly board waiting for them to take all of our pieces. And that's it. That's what's wrong with us right now, is that the world has become like fiefdom and the serfs. And it doesn't work. It leads to revolution, and not in a good way. And I'm not here advocating that, but I'm saying as entrepreneurs, especially with AI, the fork in the road that I see, which is what I've chosen to do as my service to myself as well as humanity, is to say, I've been a millionaire. I've been broke. I've been in between. I've always been just the same dude. I'm not going to sit idly by and be poor. But at the same time, when I build my business, I'm going to do it in a way that empowers more people not to strive for $100 million, because that's ridiculous, but rather to do things to serve themselves while they serve other people, or maybe serve other people first. And I don't mean like in a food line. I mean being a capitalist, being an entrepreneur, doing business stuff. But like we can spread the word that a healthier life raft on Earth is like everybody's spread out, sharing the food and water in a way that the life raft and everybody on it gets on a great journey. Not one person lives and everybody else wants to kill them, which is unfortunately Marie Antoinette and Julius Caesar. And historically, we have so many lessons to learn. But you and everyone else, the best I can share is I've lived through 5, 6 presidencies. And when I was a kid, we were all going to die because the Russians were going to kill us. But then the next day, we're best friends because the wall came down and bird flu was going to kill us. And the Y2K was going to kill us. And the year 2000 was going to kill us. And the 9/11 was going to kill us. Everything was always the world was going to end. My Gen X generation... That's why we're so bulletproof. Because we're like, fucking do it already. Do it. But it never happens. But this is something that I can't sit idly by because I already see how this works out. And I read about the Gilded Age. I watch the shows and the movies and read the books about the Carnegies and the other ones who led to things like the Sherman and the Clayton Act and the antitrust, because the world woke up. And then we had 1968, 69, 70, 71, 72. It's like fucking deja vu. And I know it's going to end the way it's going to end. But in the meantime, there's people out there talking like, you got to have $100 million. And I'm like, no, you do not. Okay. So sorry, I really monopolized that hand raise.
No, you're good. No, I mean, the way you put that makes total sense. I don't know. There's a lot of things there, but the one I was going to say this a little earlier, but I think it fits now. I took one psychology class, like literally the intro at the University of Pittsburgh, because I was going for like information science and all this stuff, and I took it as elective. I think I inherently love understanding myself. Therefore, I love understanding other people. I love getting to, understand how humans behave and all that. And I just understand, I just like kind of figuring out humanity, I guess, in a way, because it helps me navigate business or what have you. Do you, in that vein, based on everything you're saying there, one question that I pull out of that amongst many, do you think, I'm going to say 2 questions. Do you think we can get back to the point where it's like a little bit better for everyone, especially in the middle? And the second question is slightly a deviation of it. Is everyone supposed to be like an entrepreneur, or is there supposed to be like entrepreneurs and employees? Like, that's definitely how it's supposed to be? Can people turn into one or the other? Like, because that's the thing that I also see is kind of really funny, because all the content that I watch, I think I'm firmly in the camp of like, I don't want to be an employee. I want to do my own thing. That's the way I'm wired. But I've learned that I can't force people to think that way, because it's like they're not. Yeah.
You remind me of one of my favorite movies of all time, Caddyshack. You ever see Caddyshack?
I don't think I've seen it in its entirety, but I know.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
dude,
it's
put
stuff.
That on your, like,
I'll write
tonight.
It down.
That is in the list of top all-time movies ever. That's Take to an Island movie. Anyway, watch it. But in the movie, Ted Baxter, I forgot his the real actor, but like the guy who was Ted Baxter on Mary Tyler Moore Show, he plays the sort of evil guy. And anyway, there's one scene where he's talking to his nephew or something, and he says famously about the nephew's complaining about something, and he says, "The world needs ditch diggers too."
Yeah, I've said that before.
And the point is, to answer your question, no, everybody should not be an entrepreneur. They need employees, you need oligarchs, you need everything. You need like a cast of characters. But in answer to your other question, because I'm a stoic, but also an optimist, and I'm also a believer that we're living in this malleable world of our own perception, our own making. I think we can all put the energy into changing it the way we want. The needle swings, okay? The pendulum swings. I've seen it swing. I mean, there was a dude, James Watt, during the Reagan era. He was the Secretary of the Interior, who quite literally, he was another right-wing religious fanatic, who quite literally said, well, the sooner the Russians murder us all with nuclear bombs, the better. Jeez. Like, because then, the rapture will come. And everybody's like, even the Republicans were like, bridge too far. Can't say that. The point I'm saying is, first of all, I love my parents. My parents are both alive. Their generation fucked us all. Okay. The baby boomers and the above fucked us all because they had it all and they got it all and they screwed it up for my generation, the Gen X. And I have Gen Alpha and Gen Z and young millennial children.
You don't have to go super deep into it, but how, just at a super high level, because I've heard this before, what happened? How did they mess it up?
Let's start backwards. What the fuck is an 80-plus-year-old doing in Congress or in the Supreme Court or in government at all? What? My grandfather lived to 93, thankfully. My grandmother lived in her 80s, but he retired at 60. Okay. They got the hell out of there. Okay. Nobody should be making decisions for the rest of us, especially my 14-year-old and 25-year-old and me as a 60-something-year-old. Nobody should be making decisions for me that won't live to see the consequences of it. But that's what we got. Number two, government and all of the people making these decisions, they have taken all of the benefits and pulled the ladder up behind them. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, investments, insider trading. They partied like crazy people before AIDS, partied after with the cure. Like, my parents would leave me at home alone, 8 years old, to babysit my 5-year-old sister. No consequences of it. My 10-year-old walked to the park a block away. I'd have the cops at my house, like, arresting me. I mean, the world has become so fucked up. California, New York, even in the red states, like, rules that favor baby boomers and up at the expense of everybody else. I'm not going to get retirement. I'm going to retire either through entrepreneurship or I'm going to die at this keyboard. That's my retirement. Okay. Not because I don't have enough money, but because they got a choice. Like, my parents bought a house for $32,000 that they, sold years later forever. They got all of it. Now they're still living forever. And they're looking at my generation like we have to babysit and entertain them like they're our children. And I still have children that now have to live. Well, one of my kids is doing well, but like they have to worry about a 2-bedroom apartment is $5,000 that used to be $500. Okay. So the Monopoly game, it's broken. Okay. How do we solve it? We're going to solve it because what happens, and nobody seems to remember, the world is like Jenga, the game Jenga. You know what Jenga is, right? With the blocks. Mm-hmm. Super solid, everything. And then people start pulling pieces out. Eventually it comes down. Okay. When it comes down, it's going to come down hard on a lot of people, rich, poor, old, young, whatever, but it resets the game. Then it's a new Jenga. And that's what we're looking at now. Some of the variables that affect that are both politics. They are physical world problems, like those people who deny the climate is acting very bizarre is just, I don't know where you're living, but like when the coastlines disappear or it's 1,000 degrees and the electrical grid in Texas doesn't work or whatever, then you've got health issues because we used to do things to like prevent disease or cure disease. And now we have these capabilities that could be miraculous, but the pharmaceutical industries, when they come up with something, want $1 trillion a dose, or it gets banned because of some religious fanatic reason, or I could go down the list. When the shit hits the fan, if enough adults are in the room, it will reset the game for other adults to come in and take over and remediate it. But it will not come without a cost. It will not come without pain. And that's where I go back to the entrepreneurship, because those people that are resting on their laurels, I'm 100 millionaire or nothing bad has ever happened, or I got my job, I'm going to have it forever. When the AI robot comes along and you're out of your job because all you did was like word processing, or when your $100 million disappears because somebody screwed up your electronic bank account and now you're worth zero, no joke, for real. That's going to be really disruptive to somebody who's never had the rug pulled out from them before, right? But for somebody who does, it will be less disruptive. I can't predict, and I sometimes lie awake at night worrying about this. There's one of my kids, is that I wonder what is going to be happening 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years from now. And I only know this. I can't predict it, so I don't worry about it. I try not to worry about it. I worry about, if I could like your 360 thing. That's what picked up, my ears. If I can just concentrate on building a business that helps people, that makes the nut I need to not only cover my expenses, but to help other people with things that would be beneficial to them. And if each of us just did that, it's like a bunch of people picking up trash in the park, right? Or seashells on the beach or something. Like the cumulative effect of that is positive. I can't pick up all of the garbage myself. But if I just do my thing and I tell two people, look, you do it too, and they tell two people and so on and so on, like a 1970s hair commercial that I used to listen to, like that will lead to good things happening versus I need $100 million and fuck all of you. You're all fired because I hired some AI robots, or I run WordPress and fuck all of you. I'm like destroying this whole relationship with all of you forever. And you're all kicked out. Like these mindsets. Oh, fuck you. You gave me your money and you joined Automotive, and now I'm never letting you out of here. And every time that you think you're doing something, I'm doing something behind your back. Like that mindset is different. And that's what I'm saying as a little preachy, that if we all just did that little bit, make a change, think about whether it helps other people, we'll get back to something in the middle. But not easily. I mean, not easily. It's going to take a lot of friction.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that's definitely, it's definitely seems like it is going to come with some sort of pain. I don't know. There's, I'm not very
counting for one thing, by the way, Mark, sorry. You're not counting for one thing that I didn't mention, which is the uncertainty of new technologies and change, which is like, for example, everybody thought we were going to die from the Russians until one day the Russians just said, Uncle, we're done. All of a sudden, we're best friends with them. When we're out of oil, and they peak oil, we're out of oil. It's over. We're all going to die. And then they discovered fracking, right? When the ozone hole was so big, we're all going to die from the solar. Oh, well, we just stopped putting, fluorocarbons in the atmosphere. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But like it could be the thing that saves us or the thing that ends us. And then all of the thought in the world as today of what you're worrying about is less relevant than if you just thought, like you've been doing, how the fuck am I going to make like $30,000 this month? This month.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean,
I swear a lot. I started out not swearing. I was very proud of myself. And
that's probably my influence. I mean,
the dam broke.
Sorry,
kids.
It's all good. No, I think that I think I've gotten into traps before where I kind of do worry about like existential stuff that you can't worry about. I was raised Catholic. I went to 14 years of Catholic schooling or whatever, but I don't like go to church. I would say I'm much more like borderline religious, but more so like spiritual, just like as I get older. Like I feel like probably like you, like there's something's going on. I don't feel like we're the end all be all of everything, but the reason I'm bringing this up is the one thing that I pull from like Christianity, but I'm sure it came from other stuff too. There's a version in every sect of all this stuff or whatever, but it's just like, it's the serenity prayer where it's like, I'm going to misphrase it, but like basically don't care about the things that you have no control of. Like just have complete serenity about the stuff that if you have no control of it, don't give a shit about it at all. And then the stuff that you can control, obviously get the courage and change those things. And then just understand the difference of those two real things in the world. Like some things you have no control over and some things you do. And that's like probably one of my golden rules is that, because once I realized and kind of like fully digested that, which still sometimes I have trouble with, but you can't worry about any of that stuff. I do like to, again, have these conversations because I like to hear other people's perspective, especially people that have lived through more things than me, to see but it seems like it's all cyclical. This stuff happens over and over again with different names or different, scenarios, but it's always just like, okay, this is something's going to kill us, or this, that, or the other thing. Nope, it's not. Like you just outlined. And it's just like, so you can't take it seriously if you're in it, like when you go through one of them, but don't take it so to the nth degree. It's just like, just ride the wave and just do whatever you can. Be ready for
Stoicism is, right? You've heard of Stoicism. So Stoicism is a helpful framework to think about things. Now, I don't sit there and read Marcus Aurelius all day long, but I'm saying just simple terms. Don't be such a pussy and think that the world is easy. Just think that the world is hard and owes you nothing, and then be kind and use the golden rule. That's like literally, if you accept that things will be hard, but you take responsibility for your own action and you think in the now and not in the future or the past, because you can't, the more that quantum physics proves it out, I don't think there is time. I think we're just literally experiencing like pages stacked on top of each other. And it's like, we're right on this page now. Think about this page now. Think about, what do I have to do to cover my nut? Work backwards. Go, what are my skills? What are the pains I have? Who can I service that has the same pains and skills? And how can I get their attention? And use that energy. Put that energy out there. Like, that's the thing about your videos. It attracted my attention because I felt the energy was on par. And it's weird because you get really woo-woo. And I'm not religious at all, and it doesn't matter. You could put religion on this if you want. There's a higher process that we all come from and we're going to, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And it seems like it's involved in our daily lives. We just aren't super aware of it. But when you start to tune into the sort of cause and effect stuff, you do see patterns of behavior where when you think positively, you act positively. When you act positively, people respond to you positively. That leads to more potential leads and prospects turning into customers with more money. And you know what I mean? It's like sort of a cliche, but it does work that way. The rubber hitting the road is back to my original statement, which is you have to have an audience and a purpose that, like, okay, I was a 10-year-old kid who rented some Playboy magazines because I was perceptive that one of my friends that we used to play baseball on the street would spend 2 hours in the bathroom at my house every day. And I'm like, Billy, I know why you're in there. And it just occurred to me that's like, oh, I get it. Use whatever your skills are for now, today. What's the state of WordPress today? There's a million problems in WordPress today. My particular bent on WordPress is the framework of WordPress is awesome for everything, but it gets no credit for being awesome because it's like the greatest car ever built that somebody left in a barn and it's covered with bird shit, and people are like, oh, it's grandfather's car. And nobody knows it's a Dino Ferrari that grandfather picked up in Italy in 1965. Because all of the perception in the world, that's not cool. That's not a new car. But it's really the best car ever. It's getting the car running with the human interface and the billion plugins and the spray painting the bridge and the Syed Balkis and Matt Mullenweg and the full site. But when you ask people, back to Rob Cairns, my buddy, like, what do you need? It's like, dude, I need a website that sells stuff, does membership, does booking, and that I can count on being there. Okay, I got you covered. If that's your thing, you can provide that. And that's enough because my thing is to get to that result without all of the tools to go around it with AI and other things. But that's just a version of what I've been doing manually for all these years or working towards. And I got that thing I told people about, which I love to talk. That's why we're here. But I use that tool Fathom, and Fathom records all the calls, and I have all my calls on Fathom. I do free calls. Nobody does free calls. I do 20 minutes, an hour, talk all day. If somebody comes to me with free call, I'm at like a 90+% conversion rate now because they come in, they go, it hurts when I go like this. And I go, oh, let's talk about your life and your children. And next thing you know, I'm solving some larger business problem for them because they came in to talk about some plugin that they couldn't figure out how to work on. And that's as simple as it needs to be, but that's not the business that people oftentimes pick. I'm not saying everybody should do that, but I'm saying that is for me what led to the high ticket selling and the doing. Other people do mundane stuff. But whatever your thing is, and I'm not sure that's ironically what the problem is for me. I listen to what you're talking about, but I don't know what you're doing. Like, what are you doing for people for the 30 grand? What are you doing?
That's a great question. That's a great question. One that I need to, I am now solving. I'm trying to solve, but I feel like it's kind of partially the question. The thing that I have to solve is wrapped up in questions also that I was just going to ask you, kind of, because
like if somebody met you in the elevator, what would you tell them you do?
Well, I mean, traditionally it was, I don't have an elevator pitch. It's I build websites. I've built websites for people and I still build websites for people.
But for whom? Like, this is how I would do if you were calling me. I mean, first of all, I don't help people do with their business, but like with their, I'd say, what's your business do, Mark? What's the billboard?
This needs clarity help. Yes.
Right. So it's like who, what, when, where, why, how much?
Well, yes. So, I mean, again, I need to work on that. I've never had a niche in web design. I've just built websites for basically referral people like wealth advisors.
Did they sell stuff?
I mean, I could build websites doing
websites to sell stuff.
Like I mean, pretty much every business sells stuff, I guess, typically on their website. I just did one for a law firm. I've done stuff for landscaping companies. I mean,
do you like the design stuff?
I hate design. I'm fucking terrible at design.
Did you like the mechanic stuff? Like I'm
a big data strategy, like data architecture, querying, dynamic data, CPTs, customer.
Are you good at that stuff? Like, is that your
very
superpower?
good at that stuff? Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah. So, like, for example, I won't torture you in front of your radio audience here, but like, so understanding your superpower is part of the entrepreneurial bent, right? Yeah. Like you asked me, how did I get all these things that I was interested in? Yeah. I'm very ego-driven, self-sufficient, pull myself up by the bootstraps person. And when I was a kid, I'd go to the library and read magazines and books because I wanted to know shit. I think the world's amazing because I can know everything about anything. And it's great socially too, because not only for my family and friends, but like, I'll tell you a story. It's kind of funny, but I had a girl that I had a long time relationship with, still good relationship. Who knows? We might end up together, but like, we're not dating at the moment. But when we were dating, she had 3 daughters. I had 3 sons. We were like Mike and Carol Brady, but not married. And for her birthday, one time I came over with my tools and she gave me her honey-do list. And I just fixed shit around her house because I know how to do that. Like that's what interested me in building houses. Is I used to watch This Old House as a kid and I loved I told you about Mr. Miller, my neighbor who taught me how to fix cars and stuff. So I just fixed stuff. And then I overheard her while I'm up on a ladder, putting in overhead lights and dimmer switches. She's talking to her girlfriend like, yeah, he's here now. I can't believe it. He's putting in the dimmer switch. It's so hot. I can't believe how excited I am. And she goes, no, he can't come to your house. So I'm saying that having what you are good at, what you like to do, be the livelihood. Like I love to tinker with software. I love to figure out how it all fits together. I like to explain to people and teach people. That's where you're going to find your $30,000. Because the next question is, what is that pain worth to somebody of the things you're really good at? Data analysis, that's a big ticket item. Like figuring out who are their customers and where's the value or what are they doing efficiently, what are they not, giving it to them in a format that they can consume and be actionable on. That's hot right now. That's always been hot. But combining that with even some of the AI tools so they can leverage it into like, these are the things that entrepreneurs do where they take the current state of technology with the mundane aspects of running a business historically, and they merge them together in the latest, greatest tool or toy, right? At the end of the day, everybody's digging a hole in the backyard, one or the other. But you've got the new data-driven AI, dig a hole in the right spot for the right reason tool. And you have to figure out what people will pay for it. That comes through trial and error. That's why I was mentioning Fathom. I got some award, some bullshit made up award from Fathom because they're really awesome. It wasn't an award like money or anything, but they said like, congratulations, you're in the top 5% of all Fathom users for the number of calls. I had like 458 calls or something last year.
Oh my gosh. Damn.
Which when you do the math, it's a lot of talking. But all of those calls came in and guess what? Fathom took the data and I have the data and I took the data from AI and I was like, what's the common thread? And then I tested and I still test. So I think that's the solution I can offer to you as a framework. Figure out what you love, write it down, make your list, journal it, and then come back the next day and go, oh, I do not like that at all. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you'd be wrong. Then ask 1 million people. What do you do? Be curious. Why do you do that? What's the best thing? What sucks? How's your dog? How are the kids? You never know where the next thing is going to come from. Become friends with them. I'm friends with 1 billion people because I love people and the friends that are like, and then the last thing is figure out how you can make your nut. If I only need 6 people at $5,000, I got my $30,000, right? 6 high ticket people that you can deliver more than $5,000 of value is better than 60 people at 500 because that's a lot of people. 60 people if you have to do consulting. 60 automated services is fine, but 60 manual services, that's a lot of people. That's 2 a day. But 6 people, $5,000 is reasonable. Either way, I'm saying that's the system that goes through my head all the time, and I'm constantly evaluating. But it comes up against problems because, like you talk about in your videos, I talk about to myself, like, God damn it. Like, I spent all this time tinkering, and now I have 6 people that I have to finish the consultancy stuff for. And I want to go out and ride my bike or be with my kids or play pickleball. And that's the part that is tough as an entrepreneur sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm trying to relate this to like your journey, because I feel like you're one of the best people to kind of like get this experience from, because I feel like a lot of my, especially the last 2 years here, I feel like there's been stages of my life. Like I was really into finance at one point, learned a lot about that. I feel like it's a cycle. Really interested in a topic, learn, get to like, 80, 90 percentile of like knowing a bunch of shit in that. And then you kind of get bored, and then you're plateaued on the stuff that you're learning. So then you move to the next thing. I did that with like kind of with business in general, starting up businesses. Then I did that with finance. Then I did it with crypto. Then I did it with, like a couple other ones. And then like really most recently, it's kind of been WordPress. So then I did it with WordPress. I met so many good people. It was the first time I was really like in a community of people and met so many good connections. And I'm really good at building rapport. I'm really good at quickly like going deep with people. And the one thing I haven't had throughout all of that pseudo business experience over the last like 5 years is I haven't had really any solid offers. Like all of the offers that I've created for website stuff or content sponsorships or consulting, they've all been like super custom ad hoc shit. Every single time somebody comes to me and just like, hey, you seem like you know about this thing. Because I do. Like it's because I put out
you're offering.
Oh yeah. So I'm talking totally my business. Like I'm giving you the longer-winded answer to what you asked me. Like, and it's like, I have never had good offers because I've never had like something where it's like, hey, and this is why I've kind of been like sort of a bad business person or whatever, much more explorative rather than like sell. And now I'm like I want to turn that switch and actually offer stuff because I haven't had that. It's been so much inbound, not even high volume, but all of it's been inbound. It's been referral. It's been from connections, which has been good because they're super hot leads when that happens. But then it's still like me trying to figure out what to sell them in a way, because I just feel like I'm sure a lot of people feel like this. I feel like I have such a wide net of value that I can provide different people. And I need to probably just focus down into like one thing. But the reason I'm asking you this question, I think it's really particularly interesting to ask you this question, is because you've done a laundry list of other shit. So it's like, yeah. Did you you still probably feel like if somebody came to you and asked you like a legal or real estate or aviation or whatever else questions, you could probably answer them. And I'm assuming with your entrepreneurial mind, you could probably still sell them something. But do you have to like turn that off? Do you think that that's not a good way to go, or what do you?
No, I get your question, and it's a really good question. But here's my experience. I can't say it's the right answer for everybody, but number one, having a wealth of experiences, they blend together. So like the Steve Jobs calligraphy experience served him well for knowing to put fonts in the Lisa computer or something, right? And he could speak the language. He understood it enough from auditing the class. My legal background, I still have a license. I still keep it up to date and so forth. I could practice. I can offer legal advice. Would I? No. When I did real estate development, I knew what I knew, and I was really good at a niche, very specific niche of what I did. And as an investor and a landlord, it worked well. But would I go back into that now? Probably I'd say no, because the game is inverted now. It used to be nobody knew anything and money was hard to come by and the rates were high. And now it's like everything's inverted. Everybody knows everything. Rates were low and there's capital coming from private equity firms buying residential houses. Like, what the hell? So no, but understanding those niches, when I have consultancy or clients who come in, I've got the standing and the credibility to speak to their business. So as a technology person, I can go, I completely understand this WordPress related solution for your real estate business or your private equity firm or your law firm, or I understand what a deposition is or why we're doing this thing. So that accumulation of knowledge is helpful, but I do think that you need to be the company that sells one bolt for that very obtuse helicopter instead of the company that sells all the bolts for all the helicopters, because you cannot market without $1 billion everything for everybody. You quite literally cannot do it as a human being, a solopreneur especially. And so to that extent, having a niche that you said you didn't make any offers, but I bet you have, you just don't realize it. You have to listen to what the people are saying and what you believe are interesting things, and then start to test how much would you pay for that? And could I productize that service into something? I've arrived after much trial and error with this. I have a very simple value ladder, but I'm even trying to deprecate it. I have a $47 software bundle, a $97 all-inclusive a month. I have $297 for, it's an agency level. That's my core offering that's like hands-off. But if you think about it, it's nice because, and that's where I refer to Robert, like, I want more of that business. I didn't do that for a long time and at my own peril, because I've had 45, 50,000 clients go through my CRM. And I have 5,000 roughly now. But like, I wish I would have just collected all of those acorns and put them in the ground along the way. But I didn't at the time want to do that because I was busy with other stuff. Point is, on top of that is the services, $300 an hour up to VIP, which is 5,000. I make a substantial part of my living through that now, but I don't want to continue doing that because of what I just mentioned. I can't scale that beyond the scope of like getting on the tractor for 5-6 people a month at best and plowing the fields. And I don't want to do that at 60 years old. I want to have it where like I focus on one new solution a day that can be sold to 1 million people or whatever the number is. And in doing so, I don't need $100 million, but I would be able to build systems that I can show and teach and pass down in a humanist way, multi-level, to other people. Like, Mark, you're a client of mine. I gave you my whole system, and my system allows you to help other people and help other people and help other people and help other people. That's kind of like the picking up the trash in the park method, and at a price that doesn't scale up and down for you or your clients. In other words, it's a solution. So like, if you started with what you've already told me, I would say stay in the WordPress space for people who have businesses on WordPress. I would say for sure, filter out only people who sell stuff. Doesn't have to be products online. It could be services. Like, they have a website because they sell. Why? Because they're the ones who have enough money to pay you. Okay. Yeah. And then of those people, focus on a particular part of their business that you can do better with your services, your knowledge, or your software. And it could be something mundane. And then you come up with an offer that you test. You say, figure out first. And then now, is this worth $100 a month to you, $200 a month, $300 a month? Is this worth a one-time payment? Because you can extrapolate it out. If you get $300 a month, that's $3,600 a year. That's 8 people. Well, I'm saying you'd need 80, but I'm saying over the course of a year, you don't need a lot of people. That would cover your $30,000. There's ways that you can do the math, and then you can productize that service. So like, maybe in the beginning, it's all just Mechanical Turk. It's Mark goes back and types and types and types, but then you figure out how to automate it, and now you're delivering it without having to do the work. That's what I've done to a certain extent with a lot of my core offer. It still requires work, but 1 ounce of work gets 10 pounds of result, because I'm not doing it, ounce by ounce for 10 pounds. I'm just doing it once. And I think that's the system. That's the way that you need to approach this. Not that I have your exact answer, but open yourself up as you're doing to public perception. I don't like to share too much about my money with people because I feel that causes Schadenfreude. Do you know what Schadenfreude is?
You're going to have to explain it.
There was a Boston Legal episode with, where he explained it. I forgot, not Denny Crane. I forget the other characters. But anyway, the point of the story was, it's a German word that means taking pleasure in other people's misery. And what I think happens is, if people want to be open about their revenue, God bless you. I think it's a mistake. Give them a hint of what you make and why you make it, but don't tell them the details, because if you say you make too little, they go, pfft. If you say make too much, they're like, what a fucking asshole. Okay.
Yeah.
That's human nature, isn't it? Like, you can't help to be happy for your friend that just won the lottery, but then they complain to you about like how their life is so hard. And you're like, really, Mr. Multimillionaire lottery winner? And that's what I do when it comes to these people that have $100 million and they still treat people like shit. I'm like, really? Like, your life is so miserable that you can't understand what it's like for everybody else. And just, so do what you're doing, which is, I'm on the road to 30,000. 30,000 is not offensive. Like 360 is a good revenue. That's a good income. But I think you're going to get there by way of literally whittling it down from the end result backwards towards things that you already know about and do. But you have to listen, talk, understand what people are saying by, a million conversations, and then offer it to them, see if they bite. And then you can do things like Nathan Barry famously would test the boundaries of your sale price, right? Like if you pay 100, would you pay 150? Would you pay 200? And if it causes a retraction, you go, oh, that's too much. Come back to 125. And eventually you get to a place. And I will tell you, it's a non-ending process, because my problem today, which isn't exactly your problem, is I decided that the business I was doing when I had 12 people working for me, then I had one, and then I wanted to be by myself. I wanted to just do my own thing because I didn't want to have people relying on me. It's like, how can I build a business in a modern world where everybody has AI and yet WordPress is so awesome? So what I had to kind of do is like jettison the escape pod down to Tatooine and get the fuck out of there with the business I was in, because the business I was in was fixing Frankenstein monsters. People had assembled, look, 10 plugins is great. 1,000 plugins would be better. And my website doesn't work. And I was like, perfect. 300 an hour. We'll keep working on this till we're old people. That business didn't feel good. But in doing so, I have to now go like hustle, 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 reinvent what it is that I'm doing. And for my particular taste, it's how I get to the end result of WordPress set up with many of the core components, but doing it through a new method that's maybe more like an iPhone or a desktop or something. You might have a different bent altogether, which is a business that's related to the data or to understanding. And maybe you'll use tools, or maybe it'll just be Mechanical Turk, but who cares? And I know you'll get there, but the way you get there is by systematically whittling away from the end result backwards, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I just set that goal last week. So yeah, I'm in the process of like putting together offers, and I think really it's really very simple. Like when it comes down to it, for me, I've over these last years, I've really started to understand the things that I'm good at and the things that I'm not good at, and the things that I like and the things that I hate. So that's been a lot of really good, put me in a really good direction as far as personal growth and business growth. But to be honest with you, I have been a terrible business person retrospectively from this simple idea of I have not sold at all. Like when you think of like the sales department of my business, it's basically been non-existent. I haven't like tried to generate leads other than just like building those relationships and organically and everything, which is fine. Like that's good. But I haven't tried to actually get leads, or I put out so much content. The content hasn't been focused on like, hey, this is my avatar that I want to go at. I'm going to make content specifically for them. I could crush that. So that's something that I'd like.
But you need to know who you're addressing, because otherwise they don't know you're speaking to them. Like, for example,
100%, yeah.
Your videos are awesome for infotainment. And if I was an entrepreneur journey, but like you need to associate that to something. Like, for example, maybe the advice is just a newsletter. Maybe it's a private advice thing. Maybe it's a coaching thing. Maybe it's literally your data analysis. But you can speak to the problem without speaking to the problem. For example, some of my most interesting leads were people who watched the videos. I mean, I've had like 5 back surgeries, but like when I first had my back surgery and I started walking, I don't do any social media at all, except for my YouTube Friday thing. I was doing the like hold the phone while I walk and like, hey, it's Spence, Instagram. Right. You saw it. Like people, I've had people like call me from around the world going, I saw that video And I just wanted to talk to you. And we started talking, and some of them ended up being clients because I didn't put a wall on it, but I knew when I was listening that if they explained to me something about their website, I'd be like, I can help you with that. You have to figure out whether you're willing to talk to people. And if you talk to people, whether you're willing to stick your neck out and say, you're doing this wrong and I can do it better. And then from there, figure out how much they would pay for that. And then you said it just now, which is perfect. Figure out which things you like and which things you don't. Because you know what? I love solving problems for people. Over the years, I've done thousands upon thousands of clients and sites. I hate managing sites and building sites for people now because it's like making the same goddamn birthday cake 1,000 times. But I love making AI and other software because now one thing can be used by everybody. So by understanding what you like and you don't like, you can avoid building a trap for yourself, which you're going to do anyway. But like, and then you can use the measure of like, how many clients at this price is it going to take to meet my 30 Gs? And 30 Gs that's a strong number. I mean, you don't need 30 Gs. You could get by on 20 Gs or 15 Gs. You could buy an 8 Gs. Depends on where you live. The point is 30 Gs is a big number, and that's an admirable number. But the fact that you're willing to talk about it is fantastic. I think you need to associate that with something that is a purposeful solution for a specific type of thing, who's in the space of WordPress, whatever that may be. I mean, it could be, I'll do the data analysis of your WooCommerce revenue based upon the customers you have. I'll give you a custom report. It's $500. People will pay for stuff like that, but you'll find out. But until you do that, you're almost wasting the energy because the only thing you would get from that would be if you say, call me, because that's not wasted, but that does take time, you know. But right now, if you put social media out and it has no offer and it has no specific customer, in one ear, out the other. It's entertainment, and I will watch you, but I'll just get on to the next one, the next one. If you go, but wait, here's my thing, get it now. Okay, click the button. I want what Mark's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I bundle that under, like, again, the offer thing. Maybe it's not a one-to-one on that, but yeah, at minimum a CTA. Yeah, I should definitely start doing that. After I realize who it is and what it is that I'm doing. So yeah, that's on my list here.
I mean, you have those other people from your other industries that maybe they have something that's overlapping into your WordPress experience. That's kind of the evolution I was referring to. You know, I mean, the trike flying stuff and videography led to the technology. The technology led to the opportunities that led to Ning and then Social Go, and Social Go led to WordPress, and WordPress led to social networking and led to, like, it was accidental. Like, I was doing that for a hobby. But then I was aware of, wait a second. And I think that's where you get your best ideas, is like take a little from what you just did, mix it with what you're doing, and think about what you could do next. But, you know,
yeah,
I'm here to help if you need, but I don't think you need help because I think you're doing a great job. The fact that, you know, your videos are very entertaining.
I appreciate it. And
I like the way you do them, by the way, because you are very different on a personal level. I didn't know, but there was that fella who was years ago I think Phil DiCarlo. I can't remember his name, but I sent you a link. You have that energy. He was very high energy, and he's done well. He's one of the early YouTube breakouts, but he just talked in the camera, and he was like, da, 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 and I just love that. It's very compelling.
I appreciate it. I have a very specific question for you, WordPress related. I don't remember if I was on this episode of the WP Tonic when you said this, or I was watching this episode. I think it was probably around last year when all the crazy stuff was going on. And I have used this. So I'm thanking you and asking you a question all at one time. I'm crediting you, thanking you, and asking this. I've had, and let me, a bunch of context here, a bunch of things in my mind. There's some other podcast episodes. I think they're going to be released before this one. One specifically with Andy Milligan. He's a Webflow agency owner. He doesn't really use WordPress. He's a younger kid. He's 24, even younger than I am. It's weird because like I'm young in the WordPress space, and now I'm like talking to younger people that are dealing with other stuff. It's a whole thing.
Kids today.
it's a whole thing. But he doesn't understand the WordPress lore, right? And I have been, while I haven't been here as long as you have, and as long as other people that I talked to for the last 2 years, I have literally mercilessly the last 2.5 years tried to figure it all out. I've been asking the questions. I've been talking to people, understanding it, and just I feel like I've literally amassed 15 years of history in like 2 years and like tried to understand it all because that's what I love to do. That's just I get into it. So the reason I'm thanking you and the quote that you have is something to the effect of, you said you were commenting on it and you were like, back in 2005 or whatever the year was, like when WordPress was coming up and you were getting into it, everybody was getting into it. It was like, it felt different because it was like a new thing. It was changing the world, so to speak, in so many ways, you know, maybe you didn't know it at the time, but it was. And you guys were all around a campfire. Specifically that yeah, I know it was you. I know that's why I'm thanking you. And it's like you're
Campfire
like and you were like and I've absolutely plagiarized it, but I always try to give you credit for it. So it's like you were sitting around a campfire back then, and you guys were all having fun making stuff and making the contributing and also making your own thing and, you know, giving back and all the stuff. And now it's totally changed, and you know, things change obviously. But there's just a couple threads here. One, I don't think people understand unless they're really like empathetic or they're really like a deep thinker. They can't understand what that was like. And the fact that people that went through that are still here and they have those literal emotions about this fucking software, as silly as it is.
By the way, now that you remind me, Otto was still an asshole back then. He was the original asshole. He was like fucking with people from day one, and still is.
Oh Jesus! So these people like yourself and everybody that was around that campfire felt like it was super special, and they have emotions, positive emotions from 2005, circa 2005. Yeah. Now they're still in this thing that is still called WordPress, but feels different, has evolved, etc., whatever. And now there's different feelings. It's like you raised a child and it's 20 years later and it feels so much different now. The relationship is so much different. So all I'm saying is I love this shit. So like I see that and I'm like, I wasn't there, but I totally understand what you're saying with that. And I just wanted to, I haven't had the opportunity to have a conversation with you about this, but I've referenced this so many times to people, especially again, like my buddy Andy, who you couldn't even understand it. Like I couldn't understand it 2 years ago. Now I understand it, but like you can't even understand the lore of WordPress without really either being there or going in this deep. And I just wanted to again say thank you.
Well, you can understand it, but there's a reflection there I have because again, the Gen X in me, we were around for all the beginning stuff. So when I referred to like why I was in WordPress, that was I started doing this trike flying thing and I wanted to do videography and photography before there was YouTube, before Facebook. This all happened like in the early 2000s. And then WordPress was one of those things that you got on a if you knew how to do a web server, there was like cPanel and it had like your PHP apps and there was B2 and like Drupal and Joomla. And the point was those things that came about. I remember Chad Hurley and his founder friend, like talking about the first YouTube video. I mean, I sound like a fucking dinosaur. They're like, we can't get anybody to use the platform. There's only 35 videos on all of YouTube. Well, first problem was nobody had like digital cameras to make the things. I talk about having a studio, which is a box, a PCXT that had like a Pinnacle card, and it was all day to make one video. Anyway, point is, WordPress at the time, for me and everyone else, felt like the allure. Matt Mullenweg was Tom Sawyer. And he was sitting on the porch. He's like, paint the fence. And we're like, yeah, paint the fence. And then every so often, this anonymous asshole would kick everybody off. And like Otto, we now know what that was about. And Otto's, I'm sure, a good human being. But he's just an asshole because of the way he's always treated people. He's like hiding in the shadows, doing henchman work. When Mullenweg lost his shit, so to speak, over the last couple, it was really a letdown because it's kind of like when you grow up and you get to the point where your kids are adults and you look back on your parents' behavior as a Gen Xer and they're infants and you realize you raised yourself because your parents were infants the whole time. And it was only through dumb luck you survived it. You wouldn't know what I'm talking about, but like ask any Gen Xer that was left home alone on a Saturday night at 8 years old. Their parents would go to Mexico without like, I mean, it's just, how did we survive it? But that's the mindset where I said on the WP Tonic show 2 years ago, and it was in one of the shows, and then last year I made it a reality, and this year I'm taking it to the nth degree, which was, I said I was exhausted from all the politics because the unraveling of WordPress's like Wizard of Oz thing was too much for a lot of us to bear because, boy, we love the people. Oh, I love the people still. The people, we're just fantastic. It's the politics of a few bad actors and the founder and everything else that's made it tainted, combined with it feeling like the world doesn't give it respect. It's the Rodney Dangerfield of software because of the lack of leadership from the top down. I have no desire to take flack like Mullenweg from the public of, look at Spencer's WordPress. No. But what I can do on my own is I can make this minute launch AI that allows me to pick up 2 pieces of garbage in the park and get 2 people and 4 people and 10 people. And soon maybe 10,000 people are picking up garbage in the park with my version of what WordPress is under the hood, but with a new modern bent on it. And anybody else can do the same. From Jamie Marsland, who loves full site editing, to go down the street and find somebody else. But the point is, that's what you can make of it. It's like a piece of clay, and people can still do that. So to me, that's the most amazing thing in WordPress. But it's unfortunate because I'm like a child who saw his parents having sex, and I'm never the same. Like as soon as Mullenweg unwound and Syed Balki acted badly, and Otto came doing it, like all of this stuff over the last couple of years, too much drama, too much. But the glimmer of hope is stuff like Raquel doing, press conf, and the rest of us, the audience, getting together like, hey, we're still the fun kids. We can still get together. By the way, Jonathan and I are age-old friends, and he and I don't work in the same way but we've always had a relationship. He was one of my first customers and clients, and he's been a friend. I was one of the first guests on his original show when he did it with this other fella, Conrad or William, some Conrad, I can't remember. Anyway, I think one of my shows is the most watched shows on WP Tonic, and I don't know why, but I think it's because I've been consistently saying the same stuff that we're saying now, which is WordPress is a vehicle for anybody to do whatever they want to do with it. And I think sometimes the politics and the drama make it easier because it's really weird. Even as of this week, I had clients come to me and go, the web host told me WordPress isn't secure. And I'm like, really? It runs half the internet. It's got like 100 billion people using it. It's got millions of people looking at the code all day long. And you think it's more secure to go one of those closed SaaS companies where 2 dudes run the code and keep all their bugs hidden? And this is the thing that's remarkable is there's opportunities in all of the misperceptions, let alone the fact that the tools are easy enough to leverage, especially with AI. So I'm excited. I'm very optimistic, but I do share your enthusiasm for, and I do live, like I cut the cords of my own parachute because I decided that the business that I was in with fixing Frankenstein monsters was not going to continue to be appealing to me as a 59, 60 plus year old. And I needed to take this opportunity right now. This is the gold rush right now, between the world that it was and the world that it's going to be. And it's going to be tumultuous and scary and exciting and all of those things. And yes, the needle will swing and people are going to get hurt and crazy shit's going to happen. But this happened so many times in the past that we're going to come out of it on the other side. I don't know what that means, but it's not going to be like it is today. And it's sad to me sometimes because I do like the certain eras where things were stable and chill, the middle. Like the 90s, 92 to 2000 was like, oh my God, the best 8 years of my life. But the swings are where the opportunities happen. So for you as a 29-year-old or me as a 59-year-old, we have to grab that ring now and do something. You can't fuck around, Mark. You can't wait till 2030. Like it's too late then. Because I've seen that happen as well. Like, and I'll end on this, like, in the late 90s, I was practicing law and my real estate was like crazy booming. I was wishing I was in technology because I saw my friends in California like building websites for $195,000, right? There was that, go back and watch some of those movies of the grunge era. And that window closed in 2000 with the Y2K thing and all the rest of the crash of the .com. But there was 3 years where people were just like printing money and having fun. And I was like, damn, I missed it. But maybe it was good I missed it because this one is more permanent, but we're dealing with different ingredients. And I think it'll be fun. But
It'll be fun. That's for sure.
Well,
Spencer,
it won't be easy, but it'll be fun.
It's not going to be. Yeah, it's definitely not going to be easy. Well, life isn't easy. Life is supposed to be hard. So
You'll appreciate it later, by the way. Your wins will be much more enjoyable because of the struggle. The easy wins are never enjoyable.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Anyway.
Spencer, I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Too.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming on.
Kids, for the F-bombs.
So this is not a kid's show. This is not a kid's show. It's all good. I do really appreciate you though, man. Thank you so much for all of your wisdom and just sharing everything here. Loving everything you're doing. The floor is yours. If you, what do you work on specifically? Where do you want to direct people if they want to hear more about you? Stuff like that.
WP Launchify. I mean, I'm social at Spencer Forman, Forman, but even the social stuff is the noise to benefit ratio is unfortunately disadvantageous these days. So what I like to do is use YouTube, and I use my website, and I have free phone calls. And so I've implanted myself into a lot of referral sources, not the least which is things like WP Fusion. So people come to me, I just talk to them. What's going on? It's WordPress related, of course. And then that leads to my value ladder. And I offer free products and stuff that anybody can use for their information. But really, it's just do the minute launch kit or one of my consultancy plans that goes on top of it. And I solve the pain that they have of how am I going to get off the roller coaster of all these subscriptions and updates and who to ask questions of at the flea market of WordPress, but also with the benefit of the coolest new AI stuff plugged in, which to me is my mystery because I know what it is. It's already selling, but I can't define it enough to say what the full outcome is other than to say it's like taking the world of vibe coding and exciting stuff that's in the news and attaching it to that reliable black box of WordPress. That seems to be the magic. And I can talk more about that if somebody wants to.
Oh yeah. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, all you guys, for listening. Everything links in the show notes. Go check out Spencer, WP Launchify. Spencer, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it.
Likewise, Mark.